Hi, this is Dean from Sentinel Candles, and today I'm going to make some soap. It's going to look somewhat similar to this one here, which was a design that I just came up with on the spare of the moment, and I didn't record it, so today I'm going to try and duplicate it. But I'm going to use, for the green, I'm going to use purple and red mixed together, and I'm going to use these as the curls, so I'll show you how to do them soon. I'm going to do pink and purple, and then I'm going to use my white base goat's milk as the top and the bottom, and these will be in between it, and the goat's milk will be slightly tinted with a magenta type dye. Fragrance is going to be Japanese Honeysuckle. So let's get started. So I've cut up into squares 350 grams of goat milk soap, and I'm going to melt that down. So I've melted down 350 grams of goat's milk soap. I've added 1 drop of magenta, and I've added 8 mils of fragrance, which is Japanese honeysuckle, to this. And now I'm going to pour this as my base. Spray it with some rubbing alcohol. Okay. So now we're going to wait for that to set. All I want to create from this is a skin on top, and I'm going to show you why I don't want it to set fully, because we're going to actually cut the skin of this in strips. So I'll come back when that's got a skin on it. Okay, so while that's setting, I'm going to do some curls, and these are half loaves that I've made previously in different colors, and I've got a smaller pink version here of what was left over, and they're unscented and they're a really good color combination, so I'm going to use them both in this particular soap. So what I'm going to do is you grab this cheese slicer, and I'm just going to take some off the top and make curls from them. Now these are really thin, like wafer thin. You can see that they can just sort of unfold on you, and you can fold them up and do whatever you want with them. So basically we're just going to make a few of them and put them inside the skin once we cut it, and therefore it will sit half inside this bit and then half out, so when we pour our next one they'll bond together. So I'm going to do a few of these. Okay, so I'm only going to use 4 of them at this stage, because I don't want to saturate this. They'll spread out over that loaf, so there doesn't need to be a huge amount of them. What you want to look for when you do these is that they don't curl up like that, because that will, the soap will not be able to get inside that, and therefore you'll have a hole. So make sure that they're open. So with this one's a little bit thinner than the purple, so that's about the same. It's about half the width of it, so they're going to be smaller. Okay, so they roll up quite nicely. Sometimes you do these and they come out absolutely horrible, but sometimes you can do them and they come out quite nice. But like the purple ones, we need to unroll them and shape them the way that we need to, because otherwise the soap is just not going to get inside those little tiny holes. Now if you saw my other video, you saw me making these inside the loaf, and once they set then you can pull them out, cut them up, and then do the same thing, so you end up with a swirl. But these ones here are very thin, and this is why I'm going to use them on these soaps because I want them to melt. So, okay, so we've got 4 of each one. And let's see if this is, okay, it's got a skin on it, but it's still hot. I'm going to wait a little bit and then I'll come back. Okay, so for this next part, I've got 70 grams of goat's milk soap. It's not a lot. I'm going to melt this down, add some purple dye to it, and then I'm going to tip it in where I'm going to cut into the skin of this one that I've just poured. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've melted down some goat's milk soap. It's about 68 grams, and I've added 1 purple to it. Now before I can just add this to the mold, I'm going to take my knife and just extend it out a little bit. It's got to be quite sharp, but not a big knife. And I just want to take from one end and cut right through, trying not to hit the mold at the bottom, of course, and then make another one on the other side. Okay, so they're right through, and if I push down on that, soap will pop up through them. So from here, we're going to add this purple, and we're just going to drip it in like so. You don't have to worry about rubbing alcohol for this particular part, I don't believe anyway, because I'm going to get a skewer and just push down, and what you'll end up is purple that goes through the holes that we've just created. So I'm not letting it go all the way right through. Some of it's coming up and some of it's not. From there, we're going to take the swirls and we're just going to plop them in, and they should just sink into the mold. Okay, so that's that part. And I'll be back in a minute for the next bit. Okay, so for the next part, I've got 210 grams of clear purple soap, and then I've got 87 grams, which is a smaller amount obviously, of red, I think it's red and magenta mixed together to get this color in clear soap as well. I'm going to scent this, melt it all down into one, and then pour it in over the top of this. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I've melted down my soap, my clear soap, in purple and magenta / red, and I've added some mica to it as well. And at the moment it's sitting on 150 degrees. So normally I would wait till it hits about 130, but in this case, this is what I actually want to do. I don't want these perfect circles to remain. I want them to move in. You can see it on this one that they've bent a little bit and they're not round. So that's the effect I want to get. You got to spray rubbing alcohol on top, so these bind. So they're going to pour on top. And I'm doing this because I want them to melt a little bit at this temperature. It's 150 degrees. I want them to melt down a little bit, so they're not perfect. And you can even go as far as helping them a little by pushing them down. So they've got that bent look. which is what I'm going for in this soap. The soap is quite soft. I just put my skewer right through it, but that's okay. Okay, so the soap has just hit 130 and I'm going to pour some rubbing alcohol. Okay, so my temperature's just hit 130 and this is like a light pink. I didn't want to go too dark because there's purple already in there. So I'm just going to spray this with rubbing alcohol and then I'm going to pour. Looks pretty good. Thanks for watching.